Alright, this is Epic Exit Signs, and after more than a year, it's finally time for exit sign setup number 2. So, starting off right here, underneath the stairs, we have, just like last time, a Lithonia LHQM LED. The only difference between this and the sign I had in exit sign setup 1 is obviously this sign has red LEDs, the LHQM LED I had before had green. This is actually the same LHQM LED sign body that I used for both tests. The only difference is I swapped out, obviously, the green LED board for a red LED board that I had from a different LHQM LED that wasn't working. So now we have a red LHQM LED. And just like last time, this sign has just the standard 90-minute, or maybe it's 120-minute, I forget, battery backup. Lights up the room pretty well. Heads are adjusted the same. So yeah, not a ton has changed with that. And over here next to the main entrance to the exit sign cave, I guess you could call it, we've got quite a bit going on. So we'll start off right here at the top. This is my Lithonia Titan series. I forget what the exact model number is on this. This is a really cool vintage sign from the late 80s, early 90s. AC only, incandescent. I want to say it uses two 15-watt incandescent bulbs, but I forget. Obviously, it has red lettering, black housing, and I have an arrow punched out just because obviously the door is right here. And it has this really nice, like, egress. I don't know what you'd call that, but it does a nice job of illuminating the floor in the dark. You can see still gives off plenty of light. So yeah, that's the Titan. And moving down over here, we have my Lithonia Signature Series, model LES1BZ, I want to say. This is a really, really cool oil-rubbed bronze LED light panel signature. So pretty uncommon for a couple different reasons. First of all, like I mentioned, this sign, even though it might look black on camera, because my camera is pretty crappy, it actually is this really cool premium finish that Lithonia offered, and I think still offers, called Oil Rubbed Bronze, which is basically black, but I don't really know how to describe it. You can check my Instagram for some really nice up close pictures of it. It's kind of this like brownish black I mean obviously bronze, but it's really, really cool, and it's really awesome that I have such an uncommon housing color in my collection. And then the other really cool feature about this sign is that it has the direct LED panel illumination. So this isn't a direct view sign in the same way that like the Hubble Pathfinder is a direct view sign with the individual LEDs that spell out the word exit, but behind the diffuser, whereas most like modern LED signs have the line of LEDs at either the bottom or the top of the sign, this sign has just a bunch of LEDs sort of randomly dispersed throughout the whole faceplate, and it gives it this really, really nice, very uniform glow that I really enjoy. And yeah. One other quick thing that I forgot to mention about the Signature Series is that it does have battery backup. It uses a 6-volt, I want to say, nickel-cadmium battery. It actually, believe it or not, does still hold a charge, even though this sign is like 25 years old. It only holds a charge for like 5 minutes, so when I put this in emergency mode, I'm actually gonna keep this sign plugged in just to sort of give you a simulation of what it would look like if the battery were fully functioning. Don't like expose me, you're gonna see the AC light on, but that's all part of the plan. And this Titan up here is AC only, so that will obviously not be lit up during the power outage. And the last piece of this exit sign setup, as I promised in setup number 1, I do finally have an emergency light mounted on the ceiling. This is my Lithonia ELM12 crazy high capacity halogen emergency light. This thing I could talk for hours about, but I'll leave it at the fact that this thing is just an absolute beast. It's insanely bright, and as you can see if we come over here, it is equipped with self-diagnostic testing. So basically, you can give this sign, well, first of all, this sign can test itself once a month. It tests itself for alternating between 30 seconds and 60 seconds every other month. And at the end of the test, it'll read back a code to you that's displayed on the LED, and it basically illuminates either green or red, just depending on if there is anything wrong with the emergency light. So it's really, really handy. It could really, in a real building, obviously, it could help save on maintenance costs because you don't have to go around every month and manually push every button, especially if it's a huge building. So anyways, this emergency light is super cool. I just picked it up the other day, and I'm super glad to have it mounted and operational in my collection. Alright, so we are fully in emergency mode here. You can see the LHQM LED doing its very best to light up the room. We have one head pointed down right over here, just like last time, and we have the other head pointed sort of towards some of my other exit signs and just more towards the center of the room. And coming over here, just like I mentioned, we have my signature series that's still technically connected to AC power, but we're going to pretend like it's in emergency mode. Hopefully in the dark you can get a better sense of just how cool that LED light panel is. This sign really does just have an incredible illumination. It's, as opposed to some of the newer LED signs, even though the LEDs might in some cases be brighter, you just don't get that same sort of uniform look on the exit sign itself, which I just think is really awesome. I mean, this is truly one of my favorite signs. And like I mentioned before, if I can get the lights here, my Titan obviously isn't lit up because it's AC only and lame like that, but you'll also notice my ELM12 isn't lit up. That's because I figured, instead of just showing you what it looks like in emergency mode, I figured I would actually do a manual test on this. So when I push this green button up here, the sign should illuminate for about 30 seconds, and then you'll notice the LED will probably go red. That'll indicate a high charge. I don't exactly know what that means, but I know that within a few hours it'll go back to being green. I'm assuming that just means the battery needs to recharge. So we'll go ahead and give this a test, and I'll shut up so you can watch the ELM12 in its full glory. And that's pretty much the end of this second exit sign setup. Hopefully there will be more videos in the future, and hopefully they won't be a year apart. But again, we'll see what happens. Life gets crazy sometimes. I figured I'd end this off because I was lame and I kept the lights on when I tested this the first time, and I just really love testing this thing. We'll give it another whirl in the dark, and like last time, I'll just shut up and let you enjoy the ELM12 glory. So yeah, now it's an LHQM LED-R. Moving over here.